Welcome back to another FPL reaction stream. It has been a long while since I've done one of these. I think over a month ago, before I even went on holiday. I kind of disrupted the flow a little bit of these, but I am back after an eventful weekend, and we just had an incredible FA Cup semi-final between Coventry and Manchester United. I mean, how did United fumble that 3-0 lead? Who knows, but they got the job done in the end, and we've got a repeat of last season's FA Cup final, the Manchester Derby. But we're going to talk about FPL, about Double Gameweek 34 so far, and it is pretty much half-time. There's still a lot of football to be played. I've got Cole Palmer as my only single gameweek option in the starting 11. In terms of regrets about my transfers, I think starting Zabani over Aït-Nouri is one of them. Aït-Nouri is already outscoring him, and I would back him in that matchup between Wolves and Bournemouth in the second game of Gameweek 34. Apart from that, I think the captaincy as well with Salah, who didn't even start today. Liverpool made quite a lot of changes, which obviously shocked everyone, but it is what it is. I think those one for Eze, absolutely fair play with the captaincy, and the triple up in Crystal Palace offensively has really worked like a treat. It was Mitch who scored an own goal, but actually, after review, they have changed it to a Dean Henderson own goal. So for those that went there, obviously very tough luck. But then you got Pickford getting a clean sheet, and you have to say Nottingham Forest should have had at least one penalty, probably two. So sometimes luck does play a part in all these factors, but I'm very happy with my 11 so far. It's the Liverpool players that have been very disappointing. Diaz played quite well, but no goals or assists to show for it. Salah, of course, as my captain, the most disappointing player by far. Zabani not even producing a single point at the moment. Virgil van Dijk, I mean, Liverpool just can't keep clean sheets, but that double up in Arsenal defensively with Raya getting 10 points, and Saliba getting 2 bonus points and 8 overall. That was very clutch. Saka did blank, but I did like his performance. I think he needs a rest at some stage. But yeah, the stars of the show are undoubtedly Eze and Mateta. Even Solanke got that penalty goal to put Bournemouth 1-0 ahead against Aston Villa before the Villains ended up winning 3-1. Let's get straight into your questions and comments as always. Be sure to drop a like if you haven't already. Our aim is to get this stream to 100 likes nice and early. Trenick says, thank you, Dylan. I asked about Havertz and Munoz or Elise and White, and you saved me. Well, it's all down to you and your decision in the end. But I have to say the Havertz and Munoz one is still a decent duo, and I still think Havertz can do well against his former club in Gameweek 34. But yeah, White and Elise, it looks like that is one already. But you never know in football and in FPL, things can turn so quickly, but hopefully that ends up being the right call in terms of the outcome. Manish says we got lucky. Yeah, Man United, I mean, look, they played quite well in the first half to go 3-0 up as well, but the capitulation towards the end is something we've seen time after time again, like the Chelsea game, even the Liverpool match, where United always seem to concede late on, and it's just, you can't keep doing that. I love Eze, says Philip. I think that's, yeah, a lot of us probably feel the same way FPL-wise. Gosh, that triple up on Palace paid up. By the way, I'm Raf57, just changed my username. Yeah, I remember you, so thank you for tuning in as always. I can't believe Pickford over Henderson worked. Yeah, obviously elements of luck there with Henderson scoring the own goal and Everton getting away with two, stonewall penalties really. But you've got to say Pickford was always a decent option on paper for Forest at home, but the way they crumbled against Chelsea the other day, that already was enough to put me off from recommending Everton defenders or Pickford in goal. But yeah, football, things change so quickly. Even in just a couple of days' time, you can shore things up. But I think Everton were very lucky today. A fair 91 points so far. A fair 91 points. I mean, that's a good score. Guess the other two players that failed to return, Saka and Salah. Yeah, but it is early in the week, so there's still time for them to return. I think at least one of them will produce something. Made Mateta captain and had Eze, short for words. Fair play, Venom. Enjoy it. Mateta's a captain. I mean, yeah, you've definitely won this week in terms of the captaincy. Even if he blanks in the second game, it's already done and dusted. I also captain Elise. I'm on 65 points right now. Good stuff. And Elise has such a high ceiling. My only concern with him is, will he start both games? But with the way the game developed, Palace being able to make early subs, being 4-0 up so early, they were allowed to sub off Elise around 65 minutes, and that was perfect. He's going to start the second game, and he could even get another massive haul there as well. Yeah, definitely, I agree with that saying, but enjoy the points. And Pickford, look, he's one of the best goalkeepers this season in FPL. Eze, you beautiful man, says Sidindra. Jared C says, took out Odegaard and Trent to Havertz and Van Dijk. Still one more to go. Yeah, that's tough luck. With Trent as well, another one who, even now, he isn't guaranteed to play the second game to start that match against Everton, but I think he will start. So that's not looking great. Odegaard, I always said this, and obviously he's in the thumbnail right now, but the Wolves and Chelsea games really suit him. He's got a good record against both clubs, particularly Wolves, in fact. He scored against them earlier this season. He also scored a brace at the Molineux last time out, so he's got a very good record against them. And as for Trent, I mean, he's got that free kick in his locker. Liverpool conceded as usual. And is Trent worth that money? Not really, but for a 1 week punt, he's always going to be decent. He was in my best free hit team. And I think those that free hit and went for Trent, that's the sort of pick that really separates you from the non-free hitters. But I'm quite happy to have been able to build a strong Gameweek 34 squad. I did take a -8 hit, of course, but I think that's mainly down to a few issues I've had recently, like Nuri being injured. In the end, I benched him. That probably is a mistake, but it is what it is. Jota gamble paid off. Saka captain, not so much. So far, he can still do something against Chelsea. Yeah, as for Diogo Jota, though, he's just been very efficient this season with limited minutes. He just seems to get a goal or assist very often. Captaining Henderson didn't go as planned. Well, I hope he gets you a clean sheet or something in the second game. But yeah, captaining a goalkeeper is always going to be difficult. Even in UCL Fantasy, where I think captaining goalkeepers is more viable, I still don't do it myself, to be honest. Do you think United game is the biggest robbery in football? There's probably worse. You know, there's robberies in terms of refereeing decisions, or, you know, maybe a team that were just completely outplayed, like completely, and they managed to win the match. So United did deserve to be 3-0 up. They were playing some good football. They created chances. It's just the capitulation towards the end. You have to say that Coventry deserved better, but it's a penalty shootout. You've got to get them on target. You've got to do the job, and they didn't. Got rid of Saka and got Utilise. Well, so far that's looking great, and it probably will end up being the right call. I don't see Saka getting a massive fall against Chelsea, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Mateta, yeah. I made a very late change, by the way, because my original plan wasn't to get Mateta. In fact, it was to take a -4 hit potentially, keep Erling Haaland, start him, and yeah, pretty much just kind of rock with 8-9 doublers. But I took that late hit from Haaland to Mateta, and I have to say I'm very happy I did that. Alan Zared says, I think captaincy was a tough call this week. Most had Salah, so it doesn't seem too much as a popular pick. Yeah, it doesn't matter too much, that's true. But it's still frustrating because I kept saying all week I'm very tempted by Eze. And in fact, I probably should have at least vice-captained him. So yeah, sometimes just being different this season, it seems that's the way to go with the captaincy. I haven't done that enough, but look, even Haaland last week, he got 10 points. That's still a good return. You just don't expect the likes of Palmer to get 26, but it's still worth going different. It might be something worth looking at next season as well. How's the handball from Everton, not a pen? Who knows at this point, but yeah, Nottingham Forest have had a lot of bad decisions going against them, even Everton earlier this season as well. The battle of the two clubs with the points deductions as well, but in the end it was Everton. They just can't be relegated, can't they? They never will, it seems. Gottlieb and Gabriel, good stuff. Yeah, Arsenal defensively, look, they limited Wolves to 0.14 XG. I was still concerned because Arsenal are Arsenal and they can sometimes self-implode. They've done it plenty of times this season and over the last few years, but it was a good performance overall. Not really wasting, and I remember back in December when Saka was actually playing worse, I remember you saying stuff like, is Saka even that good? And it's very important not to overreact because then you see his form in, from between January to March, and it was incredible. You know, he's still 22 years old. He's showing great consistency overall. I don't think his form is concerning. I just think he needs a rest. He's getting kicked every single game. I think he's the most foul player in the league, if I'm not mistaken. If not, he's certainly in the top 3. And yeah, he's just one of those players that has played week in, week out, and he needs a rest at some point. 84 points this week, had the Oli Zeta trio and Captain Eze. Fair play. I mean, the Crystal Palace trio is what ended up being the winner this week. And I'll be honest, I wasn't that keen on the triple up offensively. I thought it was something worth looking at on the free hit or just for a 1 week punt, but I think a double up was kind of the perfect balance. But yeah, the triple up has really worked. Weising says, my team is cooking, plus 17 points for my transfer this week. Haaland, Bailey, Bradley to Mateta, Odegaard, Trent. Yeah, and that's irrespective of Bailey getting a goal and assist today. So that's good stuff. Yeah, Bradley, of course, missing out. We'll see what Haaland does, though. He could still play and do something, but the fact he wasn't in the squad is quite concerning for those that started him this week. Bench Branthwaite, Fate, Nuri. To be honest, I'm not that... I can see why you're frustrated now, but Liverpool will almost certainly score in the second game against Branthwaite, and Nuri could get a massive return. I'm actually gutted I've got him benched at the moment. Almost captain Trent, but I wasn't brave enough. Yeah, of course, good return today, but I still think those that went for Eze, Elise, Mateta, those are the real winners this week. Salah, 3 appearance points, yay. Yeah, he might not even start the second game, which sounds crazy. I think he will, but it's not a guarantee. Does Haaland start this week? Honestly, I don't know because we don't know the extent of the injury. But I'm still going to say yes, but I'm less confident than I was before the deadline, during the deadline stream. Must be a disaster for Salah triple captain so far, but there's still a second game, and that's why double game weeks have so much appeal. This title race, yes, but I still think Arsenal-Liverpool really, fumbled a massive opportunity last week. They both dropped points. They both lost, of course. City still have it in their hands, but if Arsenal can win their second game before City even kick a ball against Brighton, that does put real pressure on them to deliver on Thursday against Brighton. All the fuss about Brereton Diaz on free was really something. Yeah, I remember in a lot of the videos, people were saying, why not mentioning Brereton Diaz so much? And I said he's the best Sheffield United asset. He can still do something against Man United, of course, but it's Sheffield United, it's Brereton Diaz. They're not the most reliable picks. I'm never going to pick him over Eze and all these other options like Odegaard, who I've recommended all week, even Luis Diaz, who had back to do well in the second game. But look, he can still do well. I don't think he's a bad pick necessarily, but I think the hype was a bit overblown. Amor says, I had the money to go Trent, but went Robertson. Yeah, I did that in FPL Challenge. Last minute sub to Luis Diaz instead of Elise, and Salah captain. Disappointed Liverpool assets till now. Yeah, I thought the Liverpool assets would be the ones that delivered, really, even more than the Crystal Palace ones, but they were quite disappointing in Double Gameweek 25. They're doing it yet again. I'm hoping Van Dijk can do something similar to last time out, when he had a Double Gameweek where he scores in the second game. That would be massive. But yeah, so far not so good. I'm actually backing Liverpool to keep a clean sheet and win against Everton, though. Yeah, I've seen Forrest's tweet, and I know it's kind of easy to banter, and it is quite funny. I even saw Crystal Palace taking the piss, but you have to say they do have a point, because this could be crucial, and it could actually result in Nottingham Forest being relegated. They're a club with history, and this is massive. We're talking about fine margins. They're facing a fellow relegation contender. You can't make those poor calls. You've got VAR. There's no excuse to get those decisions wrong. So I'm actually in agreement. Maybe not the way they went about it, but the referees need to be called out. And I've said it time and time again. I've actually been quite more measured recently. Even though there's been terrible refereeing displays, you can even say last night, I'm still don't even care. Every referee is terrible, it seems. It's a difficult job. You're kind of, no one's going to like a referee, basically. It's kind of the toughest job in football, but yeah, some of them don't make it easy on themselves in terms of being very unlikable. Can you make a quick rough wildcard draft? Sorry, but no, because I'm saving that for a best wildcard team. I'm wildcarding myself. I've already played the chip, which I kind of regret because I've lost a bit of team value already. I kind of didn't really think about that too much, but yeah, I'll save that for the best wildcard team and team selection videos and podcasts. If you've seen some of my recent team selections and wildcards, you will have a good understanding of what I'd go for. One free transfer, bought Eze and captain him, says Pajita. This game will be great without free hit if Isak and Gordon get something. I'd be more confident in in Isak. I don't like Gordon away from home, but he can still do something against Palace. I have to say, though, the way Palace play today, yeah, that's going to be a really good game, I think, between them and Newcastle. Will Arsenal keep 2 clean sheets? They can. Will they? I think Chelsea will score, to be honest, but I'd love another Arsenal clean sheet. They seem more solid defensively away from home. That's 6 consecutive clean sheets on their travels. At the Emirates, they obviously conceded twice to Villa. Last time out, they kept the clean sheet against Luton Town. And then going back before that, I think it was a 4-1 win against Newcastle. So I do prefer Arsenal defensively away from home. -4 for Henderson, yeah. Look, goalkeeper hits are always going to be tough. I technically took one for Raya. I got him for free last week, but that incurred an extra hit this week, and he delivered it with 10 points against Wolves. But yeah, with Henderson, that's bad luck with the own goal. I should have played Pickford instead. I'm guessing that's over Henderson. Yeah, look, Pickford against Forest, always decent on paper, but a lot of luck involved in that clean sheet. What rank are you hoping to get by the end of the season? It's not been a great season for me, but I have been quite consistent in the last couple of weeks. It's been a lot of green arrows. Hopefully I haven't jinxed it. I think top 100k at this point, considering where I was. I think what really killed my season was between game weeks 4 to 9. I was absolutely horrendous in that period. I sold Ollie Watkins when he got 3 goals, 2 assists against Brighton, and he got a goal against Chelsea. That was really the killer blow, I think. Yeah, I'd say top 100k. It would be my worst rank, but still decent. I think top 100k now is much more difficult than it was 3 or 4 years ago. No Haaland on wildcard. He's currently in my draft, but he's not absolutely necessary, to be honest. And he might even be a doubt for, well, he is a doubt for the Brighton game. And if he does miss that game, who knows? Are we even going to go for him on the wildcard in the end? Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you for letting me know. I'm not sure why there's a scratching sound. Be sure to let me know if the audio is bad. It might be something on mine which I can fix very quickly. So let me know in the live chat if, yeah, the audio is that great. Let's be sure to keep on liking the stream as well. Get this over 100. Doggy to Porro if fit, or Emerson? I'd go to Porro, but don't expect clean sheets. You're kind of just hoping for attacking returns there. Apparently Haaland's brother benched Haaland. Yeah, I heard a lot of his family members didn't play him or they sold him. Stuff like that, so let's wait and see. Free transfer 34. I'm guessing that's free hit. Captain Eze, have Alicia Mateta, 83 points so far. Good stuff, Neil. Didn't activate yet. Maybe will tomorrow if Isak or some other players that I want to start rising in price. Yeah, I shouldn't have activated it already. It is what it is. Thank you, Singh, for letting me know. I'll double check that anyway afterwards. Maybe I'm naive, but can someone explain the Forest penalty claims? I don't think anyone can do that. Oops, I played Neto instead of Pickford. There's still a second game to go, but of course it's not looking so good at the moment. So yeah, thank you, Singh, and to Jamie for letting me know. Not interested in United assets. I'm still interested in Bruno. He got a goal. Yeah, he got a goal and assist. He created 7 chances as well. He had a great game. So yeah, he's in great form. He's the one that I'd mainly look at. But in terms of Anana and Dallo, who I was considering on the wild card, I'd still go for one of them, I think, but not both. I think it's so difficult to make a case. I might still include them in the best wildcard team, but I'll definitely discuss alternatives because you just can't trust that defense. Going with Odegaard over Saka was brilliant advice, thanks. Of course, it's only half time of Gameweek 34, but it's looking good so far. I think Odegaard's best ever expected assist in a Premier League game was against Wolves earlier this season at home, and his best ever XG was last season at the Molineux when he scored a brace. Bruno has a knock today. Yeah, maybe, but look, he still played the full 120, scored in the penalty shootout, and he's the type of player who plays every single game, even through injury. Salah is done for FPL this season. Not completely done. I still like him against West Ham if he starts, but on the wildcard, I think it's very simple to sell him, especially if you're looking to bench boost in Gameweek 37. I'll discuss this in the transfer tips video. I was kind of in between hold and sell for him, but I think in most cases he is a sell. Trenek says, did you see Leverkusen save their winning streak by equalising 97 minutes against Dortmund? Yeah, they've done that so many times this season where they might be 2-0 down to Karabag and they ended up drawing 2-2. That hunger to stay unbeaten is massive. It's obviously great mentality. It's so difficult to stay unbeaten, especially after winning the league and having that confirmed. But I think that's still something to play for, to protect that run. It's a historic one at that as well. Hope Haaland starts or doesn't play at all, so Aït-Nouri comes off the bench. Yeah, I think Aït-Nouri against Bournemouth is great, and also his effective ownership will be very low. I'm actually backing him to do well there. Newcastle triple up easy. Yeah, or a double up at least. I think Gordon Isak are the must-haves, in my opinion. Then you're looking at either Dubravka or Fabian Schär. You chose the wrong Diaz, Dylan. Well, Brereton Diaz so far hasn't been great. But yeah, Luis Diaz has been quite underwhelming too. Evening, Dylan. Hope you're all right, mate. Likewise, Alex. I'm concerned with dropping any Arsenal defenders this week, but 5 games in 3 weeks. Yeah, look, the fixtures are really difficult. It's Tottenham and Man United away. No matter what you say about those two teams, they're fierce rivals of Arsenal, and they'd love nothing better to dent their title hopes. You've also got Bournemouth and Everton at home. Maybe 1 clean sheet from those 2 games, but if I'm looking at the rest of the season, I think Arsenal keep 2 clean sheets, and that includes the Chelsea game. So, yeah, I've currently got an Arsenal defender in my wildcard draft, but for those that are looking to bench boost, you might even want to go for a Fabian Schär instead. And that could be the way to go. Peshang says free hitted, had as a captain, got 73 points, 100k green arrow, sitting 100k. Yeah, that's good stuff. And I think a lot of free hitters are exceeding this week. It's just if you went for like Henderson or Mitchell, I think there'd be some disappointment there. My main disappointment is with the captaincy with Salah. That was a bad call, it looks like. Better United asset, Højlund or Garnacho? Højlund has not been impressive at all. I know he scored the winning penalty today. I think Garnacho has shown better form recently, but Bruno Fernandes is my favourite, honestly. He's my favourite. Then I'd probably be looking at Højlund simply because of the lack of forwards compared to midfielders. And with Garnacho, yeah, I just think there are better midfielders elsewhere. No, Zarin, I'm going to save that for the best wildcard team, which I'll probably post on Tuesday, maybe tomorrow, but I think the transfer tips will be first. Then it will be the best wildcard team, and I'm wildcarding myself, so you see my wildcard draft by the Wednesday or Thursday. Looking at today's game, Garnacho, yeah, and not even just that. Recent weeks, I think Højlund before today's game had 1 shot since his return from injury. Saka's such a great player, but they need someone else to play some games and rest him next season. Yeah, I agree. Arsenal's overplaying him, and we can see that he's not 100%. this and last season. Yeah, it's a pattern now that Saka from April onwards, and it's also an Arsenal issue. You know, most of the players kind of, their levels drop physically, mentally. I think they just kind of gas out. And Saka's a prime example of that. He had some good moments yesterday, but even the finish, you know, to kind of really consolidate on a great dribble, for example, was overhit. And a lot of times he gets past the opposing fullback recently. He overhits the cross as well. Yeah, he definitely needs one. And Arsenal fans have said for time, Arsenal need another winger to then have Saka rested from time to time. And even Jesus can play on the right wing. Maybe that could be another avenue. But Arsenal need at least a striker or right winger for next season. They need a left centre mid. And I'd say even a defensive midfielder long-term to replace Partey and Jorginho, and another defender. If they sign those players of top quality, then they can go over the line next season. Even Garnacho's not in form recently, but he is explosive. I agree with you. He's not been in the greatest of form, but yeah, Bruno Fernandes for me is by far the best United asset right now. Is dropping Borra for Dalot prudent? I wouldn't sell Borra now unless he's ruled out of the Arsenal game. And I think the best time to buy him anyway is Game Week 37. You've got 2 home games against Burnley and City, and then you round off the season with Sheffield United away. I don't like the double this week so much, but he is currently in my wildcard team. Of course, for those that aren't aware, Udogie is out for the rest of the season after having surgery. Is Emerson of Davis the replacement for Udogie for Spurs? Yeah, they could even play Van de Ven as a left back, but I think most likely it'll be Emerson, Real, or Davis. If I had to guess, probably Davis, but it's not set in stone. Is Nicholas Jackson essential for the upcoming double game weeks? Planning to remove Petrovic, get third Chelsea slot for him? I wouldn't say he's essential. I mean, look what he did yesterday. Rounded the keeper, didn't even shoot. He is really poor in front of goal. And at Villarreal, he was much more clinical, that's for sure. He's currently in my wildcard draft, but he's not essential. There's no doubt about that. If Højlund showed better form, he would be in my team instead of Jackson. Yeah, City double in 37 against, let me try and remember now. Against Tottenham, that's for sure. And I don't know why I put myself in that situation. I actually forgot. It's Nottingham Forest. I'm going to have to double check that. No, they play Forest, Game Week 35, Game Week 37. I'll double check that now. But yeah, they do double. Do you want any United defenders on wildcard? Was thinking Dalot before today. Well, Dalot, yes, or Onana in goal. I wouldn't go for a double up, I think, at this moment in time. They just concede so many chances, so many shots. Even when they're 3-0 up, they kind of just capitulate. And the other game, by the way, for C is Fulham away. That is it. Fulham away and Tottenham away. Nottingham Forest are playing Game Week 35. I got them switched up with Chelsea, who play Forest away in Game Week 37. Sorry. Best wildcard differential for the upcoming game weeks. I'd say Bruno Fernandes is up there with his current form. He created 7 chances today. It might have been more, actually, in the end. And also, he has that eye for goal, which he had a couple of years ago. He's on penalties. Apart from Bruno, I'll try to give one in each position. I'd say Gavardio in the back line is probably decent. Yeah, Bruno Fernandes midfield and forward line. Dare I say, Nicholas Jackson. That Jackson miss in the semi-final was abysmal. Yes, I agree. Asking all the Gunners fans out there, what's the likelihood of Arsenal raising the Premier League trophy this season? Is there still hope? There is hope, but I think that Villa game was a massive blow. Now, I think what's really pivotal now is the Chelsea game. If Arsenal win that, they go 4 points clear of City. That puts a lot of pressure on City to win that Brighton game. But if Arsenal drop points in that Chelsea game, I have to say their chances drop to, I'd say, less than 10%. They really need to win that game. A draw would be a loss. They've got to get the job done there. I still think they have the toughest fixtures compared to Liverpool and City. I've always said this. City have the easiest games, but I do see them slipping up in 1 or 2 games. I think they drop points in at least one. The most likely is Spurs away. Even Brighton away will be quite tough for them, I think. But yeah, City drop points in 1 game, but Arsenal have to be perfect to win the Premier League from now on. Amar says, Game Week 35, should I move Saka and Eze for Son and Gordon? Yes, I would. And look, Saka's still a good option against Bournemouth and Everton at home. But against Tottenham and Man United away, I'm not really feeling Saka or even Arsenal attackers for those games. I think they'll be very cagey, very difficult games for the Gunners. As for Eze, difficult to sell him with the form he's in, but it's an upgrade to go to Gordon, and it ultimately will pay off. So yeah, is it better to go with Foden and KDB and don't pick Callan on wildcard? Foden is a must-have for me on the wildcard. KDB, I'm still not really there yet. I would expect him to start most games, but I still think he could be dropped in 1 or 2 matches, and I don't like that for a player who's priced at around 10 million. So I'd still rather go for Haaland over KDB, but it's not a bad shout to go about Haaland in the first place because, well, he's currently an injury doubt and he hasn't been at his absolute best this season compared to the last, and he's still doing a great season. He's probably going to win the Golden Boot if he can stay fit, but yeah, I'd personally still go for Haaland if he's fit. Who to captain in 35? Palmer for me. I think the fixtures suit Chelsea more. Now, you can go back to the same old thing about the captaincy this season. The template pick, so to speak, has been disappointing. Even Haaland last week, massively dwarfed by Palmer against Everton. This week, Palmer will be the popular pick, but maybe Son against Arsenal and Chelsea could be the play. I'm gonna back Palmer, but you look at Salah so far this week, he's been awful. He's been absolutely awful. A cameo off the bench. If he doesn't start the second game, that's looking like a massive flop. Keep Salah for the rest of the season. It's really team dependent. So if you're not bench boosting in 37 and you're kind of just focused on the single game mix as well, then yeah, I don't mind Salah against West Ham away. But the fact he was benched today is a massive worry. You know, Diaz has been Liverpool's most informed forward this season. He can play on the right-hand side. Gakpo is finding a new lease of life on the left. And I think he's going to play there more often now. You've also got Jota, who can come in and do a job, not to mention Darwin Nunez. I think Salah will start every single game until the end, but it is a concern. I personally say he's not a keep for most people, especially if you're bench boosting in 37. Arsenal double defence till the end of the season. I'd still consider it. A lot of people will jump off, and with good reason. Those two away games are massively tough. I think they don't keep a clean sheet, which... look, could set a new record if they keep clean sheets against Man United and Tottenham. They've currently got 6 games in a row with a clean sheet away. But I think 1 is probably the way to go. Hi Dylan, I hope Fernandes, Luis Diaz, Havertz, Anderson will give me points in this round. What do you think? Yeah, well, of course, still a second game to go for all of them. Joachim Anderson got an assist today, so that's something. Bruno Fernandes against Sheffield United looks good. I think Diaz and Havertz could deliver for you. I really do. So yeah, I'd be quite hopeful. Is Petrovic safe or should we worry about Sanchez? It's not set in stone. I don't think we know either way. I still think Petrovic will start, but I couldn't guarantee you one way or the other. When is Pope coming back? Well, the rumours are that Pope could be available by Gameweek 37, which would be a massive blow for those with Dubravka, and that's why Fabian Schär is probably the best Newcastle defender asset. So yeah, with Dubravka, it's a bit... I'd say you're walking a tightrope there. It's really difficult to get free Spurs players for their 2 doubles. Yeah, I'd prefer their Gameweek 37 double. And for that one, I'd recommend Bordeaux, Son, and either Richarlison or Maddison. For this double, I think Bordeaux and Son are enough. And that's, you know, assuming that Bordeaux is actually available. Vicario could be a decent option because of saves, but you're not expecting clean sheets there, are you? So I agree with you. It's very difficult to get a triple up in Spurs. I'm probably going for 2, but I won't rule out 3. I'll put it that way. Let's go for some different screens first, and then I'll go back to your questions very shortly. Be sure to smash the like button if you haven't already. It'd be massively appreciated. And let's see if the points are updated. No, they haven't been yet. The bonus points aren't updated. But Mateta got 3 bonus points, Eze got 1, and Elise got 2. Anything else? I don't think Solanke got any bonus points. But of course, Saliba got 2 bonus points yesterday. Raya got maximum. That's his first double-digit haul of the season, so very happy to have bought Raya in the end. But let's go through, the different screens. Predicted points for Gameweek 35. Palmer is currently joint top with Heung-min Son, 11.8. Jackson is third. He's currently in my wildcard draft. Johnson, Maddison, Chilwell, Salah, Petrovic, Enzo Fernandez, and Vicario in the top 10. I have to say that Enzo pick, not on board whatsoever, but the rest looks pretty decent, especially the top 2. I think we can all agree that's where the captaincy is going to be pretty much decided on. I think Son will be slightly more differential. Palmer will be very template, but with form Palmer's in, I just see him breaking that kind of template captaincy curse, if you want to put it that way. In terms of the fixture difficulty rating, Chelsea are now top with 2 double game weeks left. Same with Tottenham Hotspur, who have very difficult games, but the sheer quantity they have puts them in second place. Newcastle, Man City and Brighton complete the top 5. If we look at the bottom 5, we've got West Ham, Bournemouth, Wolves, Aston Villa and Burnley. Even Arsenal very close to the bottom there, and Liverpool in mid-table. As you can see, Man City have far more favourable fixtures compared to their title rivals, and they've got a double in Gameweek 37 as well. In terms of Draft Hound, their expected points is also quite similar. A lot of Chelsea and Tottenham, of course. Palmer is top with 14.1 expected points, a massive difference between him and Heung-min Son, who's in second. Johnson is also up there. Werner, Maddison, Jackson, Pedro Porro, Gallagher, Isak and Cucurella complete the top 10. And as you can see, my team for Gameweek 35 isn't too shabby on paper, but definitely those wildcarding, like myself, you know, if you compare a wildcard draft, it'll be much better on paper in terms of doubles, fixture quality, and not just for Gameweek 35, by the way, for the remainder of the season. So Gameweek 35 wildcard looks very nicely set up. Let's see if it delivers. But the likes of Salah and Saka are currently being offloaded, and I'm also moving away from double Arsenal defence as soon as I've actually gone there in the last week or so. Now, if we look at the captaincy to make you feel better, if you went for Salah like myself, he was captained by 86% of managers in the top 10k. Saka was second, Eze in third, a massive differential there. Haaland and Diaz are in the top 5, and so far it's not looking great for all of them, bar Eze. If I'm going to look for Mateta, look how low his effective ownership is I mean, 0.14% of managers in the top 10k captain him. Elise 0.13%. I mean, amazing hauls there from the Eagles. And yeah, this is how my team would look like in Gameweek 35, which you also briefly saw in Draft Hound. The expected points are still decent with 63.2. I've got 9.4 million in the bank, but I have activated the wild card and I probably shouldn't have done it yesterday. I have lost a bit of value in the process. I could have gained a little bit by keeping certain players like Mateta and Eze, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'm very happy with my wildcard squad. I know a lot of you want to see it right now, but I am saving it for the best wildcard team, which I'll try to post either tomorrow, but more likely on the Tuesday. And of course, the team selection will delve into that even further. I also play FPL Challenge. If you don't, I'd recommend trying it out. I should have changed the captaincy, by the way. I actually forgot to. I didn't have time. I was going to change the captaincy to Eze once I saw the lineups. That would have been obviously massive. I only went for Brereton Diaz because this week it's promoted punts getting double the number of points, and that's why well, I had the vice captaincy on him originally. I did change that in the end. Luckily enough, though, I did start Mateta and I benched the likes of Mitchell and Darwin Nunez. It's looking pretty decent so far. So yeah, good showing in FPL Challenge and also in the main game, Fantasy Premier League. So let's go back to my squad. So I scored 60 points with a -8 hit. That's 52 for the week. 2,045 points overall. And my rank has gone up by 40,000 places despite taking a -8 hit. My squad is identical to free hitters. Of course, they've got an 8-point advantage over me and probably another double game weeker instead of Palmer. But maybe Palmer could be that difference maker and a reason why non-free hitters can have some joy as well. But it's looking good, I think, for most people at the moment. And the wild card is already activated for Gameweek 35. Be sure to drop a like, get this stream to over 100. It'd be massively appreciated. Thank you to those that have done so already and sent in super chats in previous streams and those channel members and patrons. Neil Pearson says, sell Haaland Gameweek 35, buy Isak, play Darwin, bench Manice, I'm guessing that is. I'll be honest, with Haaland, if he's fit, I'd like to keep him for the rest of the season, especially for that double in Gameweek 37. Buying Isak, though, is a no-brainer. Ideally, I'd buy him alongside Haaland. But if that's your only way to get Isak, I mean, I wouldn't be against it. If I'm being honest, though, Neil, I'd rather sell Darwin to Isak and keep Haaland and play him. I think that's the best play. Trippier, says Waysing, he could be a factor, but I think Fabian Schär is probably the best. He's also got goal threat. Of course, Trippier does as well. Mainly assist threat, you'd say, but yeah, I'd say Fabian Schär is probably my favourite. Then it's Dubravka if Nick Pope is out for Gameweek 37. That's all you really need him for, because if Pope is back for the final game of the season, that's not too relevant. Your second goalkeeper is probably decent enough anyway. Should we consider Brennan Johnson? Yes, we should consider him. He's in good form, but I still prefer, I mean, a lot of midfielders. Even Saka, despite not having any doubles now, I prefer him, Mohamed Salah, not to mention Foden, Palmer, Gordon. I'd say Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, Son. I think they're all better. A doggy injured, so replace him or Bradley or Kelleher or any two for the -4. I'd rather sell Doggy because he's more expensive. He's out for the rest of the season. Bradley's out for a couple of weeks, so he's not going to be a factor again in FPL. But yeah, I'd say a Doggy is the one to easily sell. In terms of Kelleher, I'm just unsure what your second goalkeeper is. If you've got someone, even Dubravka, I mean, that's fine against Sheffield United at home. Well, I'm getting that mixed up. Yeah, Sheffield United at home. Keep Region over getting in Gvardiol or Dunk short term and then transfer out for either one before Gameweek 37. Not a bad shout, and look, Region's been good recently, and it could have been a massive haul if Brentford kept the clean sheet in the end. I'm still not too keen on Region. I think they will concede in the remaining games, but Brentford are finding form at the right time. They'll secure safety. If they do that in the next game or two, that could also cause, maybe not rotation, but the motivation levels will definitely drop, and who knows, it could be even worse for Brentford assets. That's just something I'm thinking about. I will cover Wissa actually in the transfer tips video coming up. But yeah, Region in terms of single Gameweek defenders is fine. I'm just not a big fan of him in general. How many doublers needed for Gameweek 35? I think 4 or 5. I'd say 2 or 3 Chelsea, and I'd say 2 Spurs. Yeah, if I were to triple up on one team, it would be Chelsea. Better fixtures. And yeah, I also just prefer going for Palmer, Gusto, and you'd maybe argue Jackson. As for Spurs, it's probably Son, who's obviously a no-brainer. After that, you're looking at Borro if he's fit. And if he had to go for a third right now, maybe Brennan Johnson. But I have to say, I do prefer a few other options instead. Yeah, I know that, Durgesh. I know that. I said a few times that he is doubtful, but he's got plenty of time to recover. I think he will be available for the Arsenal game. Isn't Maddison a better pick than Brennan Johnson? Based on history, what we've seen Maddison do in the Premier League for Leicester and Tottenham, you'd say yes, he is a better option, but there's no doubt that his form is quite poor, and Brennan Johnson's been the more in-form Spurs midfielder in FPL. So yeah, if you're basing off form, you're going for Johnson. I'd still favour Maddison just because of the quality of player, and I'm backing him to do well, especially in the last 3 games against Burnley, maybe Man City, but especially Sheffield United away. I think that's where Maddison could really come into a league of his own. Yeah, Luton losing to Brentford 5-1 at home is crazy. Yeah, I didn't expect that. I said 2-2 in my prediction. I was completely off it. 42k here. Nice stuff, Gary. You're doing very well. Dunk worth considering, yes, but Brighton aren't reliable defensively. Their fixtures are quite poor if you look at them. But if you were to go for a defender, yeah, I think Dunk is the one. Then it's probably Van Heck. Estupinian is currently injured. He's a doubt, and he's also rotation risk, so I wouldn't go there. It's probably Dunk, Van Heck, or nothing. Watkins, despite not having doubles, I've said it all along, Watkins ticks along nicely. 2 assists today. He did miss a big chance, but Watkins has been great this season. A front runner for me, the player of the season. He should definitely be in the conversation. Yeah, I think for those that aren't bench boosting, I'd probably keep Watkins as a sort of differential there. I mean, I say that, but his ownership is still quite high. I think it's 30 to 40%. Yeah, Barry, like I just mentioned a few minutes ago, I highlighted your message. I think 4 or 5 players, really, that double. I'd say 3 Chelsea, 2 Tottenham. That would be my current thinking. You could triple up on both if you wanted, but it's not absolutely necessary, especially given Spurs' fixtures. They're very difficult. I think Chelsea away, I'm actually backing Chelsea for the win there, and I know they're at home, but I think if Arsenal turn up, which is the big question mark, the big determining factor, if Arsenal turn up, I think Arsenal have a good chance of also getting a result. But it's a North London derby, anything can happen, and I think they'll be desperate to end Arsenal's title hopes. But I'd say Palmer, Son are obviously non-negotiables. They have to be in your team. After that, I'd go for Gusto, Pedro Porro, and potentially Jackson. That's my favourite. -4 for Gusto and Son. I'd say yes, but also who are you selling? That is the determining factor. But I'd say yeah. They're both in my wildcard team. I think Son's a must-have. Gusto, not so much, but he's got assist potential, some bonus points in there, so he's decent. Welcome, Grumpy. Hi, Dylan. A poor FPL week for me so far, but I'm currently number 1 in your FPL Challenge League. Great stuff, mate. Hopefully you can secure that, and maybe, who knows, get number 1 in FPL Challenge overall. But yeah, FPL, look, it sometimes comes down to fine margins. For example, last week I bought Raya, massive return this week, but I also bought 8 Nuri, and he's been a massive disappointment. I'm now a bit regretful about not starting him over Zabani. So yeah, FPL can sometimes come down to these small details, just like football. So yeah, we have been streaming now for, what, 40 minutes? Time does fly. Yeah, almost an hour now. So yeah, let's keep on plugging away, get this stream to over 100 likes. It'd be massively appreciated. And also for those watching in the replay, listening on the podcast, thank you for all your support. Chelsea has finished, says, rest in peace for those who started Emerson against Palace. Yeah, I mean, I'm in shock. I thought Palace would win. I think I went for a 2-1 Palace. If not, I need to go back to my predictions the other day, but I didn't expect 5-1, 5-2 in the end. It was a massive result. And those that went for triple Palace attack are just, jumping for joy, really. How many doublers for bench boost 37? Or is 15 a must? No, it's not a must. Because you could go for 13 doublers. You can go for Gabriel. You know, he's still decent. Obviously, Man United away is a tough fixture, but given Arsenal's away form, that's still a good asset. Even 8 Nuri at home to Crystal Palace, it could be all right. You've also got a few other single gameweek players like Region who could be okay. And of course, not to mention Saka, Salah, and all these great options at our disposal. So I'd say what's a must-have for a bench boost 37? I'd say 11 doublers, 11, 12. Why didn't we dare to captain Eze? I mean, I've spoke about it a lot. Like I said, he was very tempting. I just genuinely thought Salah was the best captaincy option. I thought he'd start both games. There was a small chance of rotation, but I thought he'd still get more minutes today than he did. I don't think anyone expected him to be benched. If we knew that, we wouldn't have captained him. It's as simple as that. Bench problem, Salah, Gordon, Isak, Garnacho, Haaland. That's extremely difficult. I'd probably bench Garnacho, actually, which is difficult to do. It's between him and Haaland, I think, to bench, and I'd probably bench Garnacho. ZX Trenix says, Eze, Elise, and Mateta playing like MSN. Yeah. I even saw a picture comparing them to Benzema, Bale, Cristiano. Yeah, look, they were incredible today. Will they deliver in the second game? Maybe not, but they don't even need to at this point. They've already done a great job. Yeah, those that went for no Palace at all will be very regretful indeed. Alex Leadham says, been a crazy day of football. Yeah, it's had everything. And we've still got El Clasico coming up. Not what it used to be, but still another good fixture to look forward to. And yeah, I mean, what more can we say about the FA Cup? That was kind of the cherry on top of the cake. I'm quite disappointed in Fulham, to be honest. I thought they'd do a bit better, but yeah, Liverpool back to winning ways. It was a massive result and obviously great character. And Liverpool are right back in this title race, in my opinion. But as I've said all along, City are still the massive favourites to win the title. And let's see how they do against Brighton in a couple of days' time. So Braden says, keep Salah or Luis Diaz to move to Gordon or Bruno Fernandes, or move both. If funds are no issue, I'd rather keep Salah still. I know Diaz played well today, and he actually started the game, but yeah, Salah for me is still a vastly superior FPL asset. And who would I move to? I'd say both, to be honest. I'd probably sell Salah and Diaz for both Gordon and Bruno Fernandes, because even if you're, should I say, especially if you're looking to bench boost in 37, that's just a massive plus there. You're getting the extra fixtures, and they're great assets, I think, for the next couple of weeks. Yogesh says, Coventry unlucky, but what a thriller between two poor teams. Yeah, I mean, look, Coventry did go 3-0 down in the first place, so of course they left themselves a lot to do. Incredible comeback. You could argue the penalty was harsh. I can definitely understand why some United fans were aggrieved. But yeah, when it comes down to penalties, you can see it as a lottery, but it's also down to practice and mentality. And I think that third penalty was crucial. If that Coventry player scored it, I think they go on to win it, because then it becomes sudden death. It puts a lot of pressure on the next Man United penalty taker. And yeah, the fact that Onana saved it, it was crucial. For a City defender, get Ederson or Pun and Gvardiol. As things stand, I'd rather go for Gvardiol, but there's no doubt that Ederson is safer. The Eternal Derby in Serbia yesterday, El Clasico and River Plate versus Boca today, and tomorrow is the Milan Derby. What a treat this week is, yeah. Of course, the Milan Derby, Inter Milan will be favourites, but I'm just wondering who's the home team. I know it's the same stadium, but yeah, I'm not sure who's the home team there. But yeah, some great football, of course, this weekend, and it doesn't stop. There's still plenty to go. I might even watch El Clasico for once. It's been a long time since I've done that, probably since the Messi and Ronaldo days in La Liga, but it's still worth a watch. I think Madrid are the better team, and they would be the favourites, but I think the fact that it's at Barcelona Stadium does level the playing field. I believe that's the case anyway. Son 8 Nuri out, Saka Senesi in, transfers didn't go through, burned one, have 2 free transfers next week. That could be a blessing in disguise. Not the Son to Saka, because either way, I mean, you can think of it two ways, but Saka will, I think, return against Chelsea. I think he will. Yeah, sorry, Yogesh, but I'm saving that for the best wildcard team. I'll try to upload that by Tuesday. There is a small possibility I'll do it tomorrow. But I think more likely I will do the transfer tips first. I'll highlight 10 players to buy, hold, sell and skip. Then I'll do the wild card. Then I'm probably doing either a best free hit team or just go straight to the team selection. But there's plenty of content headed your way. So keep your eyes peeled for the best wild card squad for Gameweek 35. Baseless 33 says, when Jota, Odegaard and Trent on the free hit, geez. Yeah, good stuff. Especially great returns there from Odegaard. A massive free kick there by Trent as well. And of course, Jota doing what he does best, scoring a goal. He did miss a big chance, I think, early in the game, but I don't think he'd care. Saka would have been my captain, trust didn't go through. Now on Salah. If Salah starts against Everton, I would back him to outscore Saka overall, but it will be close. Yeah, the game's in the Bernabeu, yeah. Madrid are going to win that quite easily, I think. I was trying to gas up a game, which probably, you can't really gas up nowadays. Which City defend on the wild card? Gvardiol, but with Nathan Ake back, I would be slightly concerned. I was surprised they didn't start yesterday in the FA Cup semi-final. I thought it would be Ake playing against Brighton and Gvardiol starting yesterday. So, yeah, that could be quite a big factor. Solanke and Eze to Jackson and Gordon for a -4. I'd say yes, but I do like Solanke against Brighton. I do like him. But with Jackson's double, he scored 4 goals, wasn't it, against Tottenham earlier this season. I think that could be worth it, and I really like Gordon for the remainder of the season. So, yeah, -4 looks good. Start Vicario or Petrovic. You look at, both fixtures, for Chelsea and Tottenham, and they're very poor. They're very poor. I know Chelsea beat Aston Villa in the FA Cup at Villa Park, but I'd actually go for Vicario simply for saves. And also that North London derby factor. I think that could be a very cagey game. It wouldn't surprise me if that was low scoring between Tottenham and Arsenal. Yeah, I'd probably go for Vicario, but not by much. I might reconsider that and go a different direction by the time I get to the best wildcard team and the deadline stream. So definitely put me, pose that question to me in a couple of days' time and see how I feel. I think it's very close. Anthony's reaction towards the Coventry players and their fans' end was utterly childish. Labels some of Man United's players' mentality. Class from Maguire at the end, though. I didn't see what Maguire or Anthony did, so it wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. But obviously sportsmanship is a big thing. AC Milan is the home team. Yeah, that does level the playing field a little bit. I know it's the same stadium, but obviously the allocation will be in their favour. I'd still back into Milan to draw or win, though. They're having an incredible season. And I was actually quite disappointed in them in the Champions League. Yeah, 65, -8, no Mateta. Good stuff, and that goes to show that no player is essential. I'm kind of regretting not going for Elise over Diaz and also captaining Salah, but it's still early in the game week. Best Man United defender for Gameweek 37? Yeah, it's Dalot. Or just going for Onana in goal. Now, in my current wildcard team, I've got both. And it's really just because if they keep a clean sheet, I think they can get bonus points and Onana can make a lot of saves. But it's just kind of going for both is very difficult to justify. Do you think Vicario is a better goalkeeper than Donnarumma? Very difficult to say. Vicario is having a great season, I think, but there are some weaknesses in his game. I think particularly coming out for crosses, he's quite suspect. His kicking is also not that great. He's a great shot stopper, though. I think that's his best quality. Fantastic reflexes, and he can make some spectacular saves. But I'd still say Donnarumma. You've got to respect what he's done in the last couple of years, although he's had his big moments. For example, gifting Benzema a goal in the Champions League, which spurred that comeback a couple of years ago. But I'd still go for Donnarumma as the better goalkeeper. Eddie Cassie says, "Hi Dylan, I had Solanke as captain. I'm on 62 points, got 66 -4. Salah was my poorest. Yeah, for me it was Zabani, but Salah's the most disappointing. Good score so far, and Solanke captain's decent. He could get another return against Wolves, so looking decent. You think Saka and Salah are holds for the rest of the season? Already used my bench boost, so don't need funds for the extra players. I appreciate the context because I think that does add a factor into that answer. I think Saka's a sell because, for example, if you want to get to Son and you have to sell one of Saka or Salah, I'm always going to sell Saka there. I know Salah's more expensive, but in your case, funds aren't that necessary. Now, I do back Saka in the home games against Bournemouth and Everton, and you could even buy Saka back for Gameweek 38 when the time comes. I like Salah against West Ham away. Is he guaranteed to start every single game until the end of the season? Probably not, given what's happened recently. He has been poor since his return from injury. Liverpool's front three played very well today, especially Gakpo. I think him playing on the left could actually change the dynamic a little bit for Liverpool's attack. With Salah, it's a difficult one. I think he's kind of either... How do I say this? It's a very fine margins in terms of is he a hold or a sell. For those bench boosting in 37, easy sell for Salah. But if you don't have the bench boost like yourself, I could make a case for actually holding him, and I would probably recommend it. But I think it will come down to that second game in Gameweek 34. If Salah's benched yet again, or he gets subbed out early, I think you just sell both. And you can go to the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Son, Palmer, of course, goes without saying. And you've also got other budget midfielders like Gordon, and you can spend that money and spread it across the rest of the team. Why are bonus points still not added? They might have been. I might have to refresh the page. I'll actually check on another browser first, and if it's refreshed, I'll update my page as well. Yeah, I think they've actually updated now. Yeah, I think they updated. So I'll refresh the page, and there we go. Looks a bit better. Mateta 16 points, Eze 11. So the bonus points have just been added. So yeah, we have been streaming now for almost an hour. So yeah, almost an hour now. We're getting close to that milestone, you could argue. Thoughts on Werner for wildcard as a fun option? I mean, I'm actually going to be very careful about what I say. I don't want it to come back to bite me. I'm not sure if owning players like that is fun. That's what I'll say. But Werner has been good recently in terms of goals and assists. Yeah, I think he's definitely one to consider. You know, it's a differential, but in the forward line, I'm not going to lie, I would rather go for Isak, you know, undoubtedly, Erling Haaland if he's fit, and even Ollie Watkins among single gaming options. I think he's a better option than Werner. Not to mention, you've got a few others like Rasmus Højlund or Jackson. I think both of them are better than Werner for the run-in. I'm begging you, Brighton, please beat City so we can win number 20 this season. Yeah, I'd rather Arsenal get their 14th, but I think both Arsenal and Liverpool fans, for the most part, would prefer, well, either team winning than Man City again. It's kind of a bit boring if the same team wins the Premier League every single year, but of course they are exceptional. They've set new standards for the league, but it is boring, I think, in terms of the same team always winning. Jota should start more over Darwin. Yes, it's just that Jota's quite injury prone, and even Darwin has had his fair share of problems, but yeah, with Jota though, he's also a great impact sub. With Darwin, yeah, I mean, he's also, you saw what he did against Newcastle earlier this season, but I just think Jota on a consistent basis can come off the bench and score or change a game. Bonus points added. Yeah, thank you, Alex. Ruler 2 says, should I get Son or Gordon plus Ederson? I'd go for Son, but I do like the Gordon and Ederson duo. But I'm just wondering who your other goalkeeper would be in the Son scenario. I'm just not a big fan of Ederson in general, but if you look at Man City's remaining fixtures, I think they can keep 2 or 3 clean sheets. Pick Madueke over Jackson? No, not for me. Perfect timing on that, says Alex. Yeah, I think the bonus points were just added, and someone was saying, why were the bonus points not added? It's because I have to refresh the page for them to be seen on screen. 74 points so far on free hit. Good stuff, Robin. And 100 plus points is very attainable. ZX Trenix says, start Gabriel, Tony, Region next week. Well, Tony at this moment in time is a definite no-go. I'd probably go for Region there from those 3, and I'm not a big fan of him, but he's probably the one I'd go for. Aman says, on 71 points with Eze captain, but had Henderson and McBurney over Mateta and pick for Gribic. Yeah, I can understand your maybe frustrations, what could have been, but 71 points is still a very solid score. And yeah, Eze captain is a massive win. Eddie says, I see why United players didn't celebrate winning the penalty with Højlund, as they knew they were poor today. I like Onana, Maguire, Bruno, or even Højlund. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of funny. Højlund was the only one. I think Eriksen was the only one who actually came over to celebrate. The rest were kind of embarrassed. And it was kind of a bittersweet win for United because they played very well in the first half. They were 3-0 up, but the way they capitulated, I mean, I know they got the win in the end, but that was the bare minimum, because if they ended up losing today, that would have been probably one of the biggest bowl jobs I've ever seen. In an FA Cup semi-final, in any semi-final, you can't be 3-0 up against a championship team and draw 3-3. Gabriel says, Robin, maybe it's just Tottenham I think will score. If Arsenal keep a clean sheet in the North London derby, they will actually match a record of 7 consecutive away clean sheets in the Premier League, which would match Chelsea and Man United's record from the 2008-2009 season. Very difficult task to do. Yeah, that's going to be a massive game, I think. If Arsenal win the next 2 games, I think their chance of winning the title do increase quite significantly, especially if Man City were to drop points against Brighton. But first off, it's Chelsea. They need to win that game. And if they do, the pressure of that North London derby is going to be massive. It could be one of the biggest North London derbies we've seen in ages. Isaac says Vicario and Dallo or Onana and Romero. That is a great question. I'm going to go for Vicario and Dallo. I think Dallo's better for bonus points compared to, well, Romero's decent. I can see why you've gone for him, but I think Dallo's also less of a suspension risk in general. With Romero, he's kind of got a red card in him. He's got a bit of goal threat, to be fair, but Dallo for bonus points I do like. He's also got the odd assist here and there. Nailed on for Man United, and also Vicario with the saves is a very decent choice there. The way I see it, Dallo and Annan is very close to cover the United attack. The United defense is very, very fine margins. But Vicario or Romero, I'm probably going to opt for Vicario there. That'd be my personal take. But I think these 50-50 calls, they might not result in huge swings, but you just never know in FPL. Sometimes it comes down to decisions like this, which seem very close, and in the end you see something different. But I wouldn't expect something that drastic. Speaking as a Tottenham fan, we cannot defend corners, so definitely play Saliba, Gabriel if you still have them. I might go for Gabriel on my wildcard. I've had Saliba all season. I got rid of him, which might be a mistake if I end up going back there. Yeah, look, you might have a point, but I still think Tottenham, the way I see it, I think they've got a good chance of scoring. I know Arsenal have been really good this season and also in this calendar year defensively, but it's going to be a massive game. I think both teams will score, and it's going to be, I don't think it'll be high scoring, actually. I think, like I said earlier, it'll be cagey, but I see like a 2-1 either way, maybe a 1-1. Liverpool, Arsenal, City, all too tired for the title race. Well, potentially, but City have the advantage in terms of experience, in terms of having more quality players at the disposal. A lot of versatile players as well, like Bernardo Silva, even Gavardio, players who can play 2-3 positions. So that obviously stacks in their favour. You add the fixtures on top of it. But against Chelsea, they were quite lucky. I think they got away with a clear penalty, and they weren't that great. Chelsea had a lot of openings and some good moments, which they failed to capitalise on. But yeah, Liverpool, I think, looked good today. You know, to win 3-1 against Fulham away is impressive. Obviously, Arsenal did the job against Wolves, who were depleted. But yeah, I still think City are the favourites. Is this Arsenal defensive run since like Game Week 22 one of the greatest? Yeah, like I mentioned, the record for consecutive clean sheets away from home in the Premier League is 7, set by Chelsea and Man United. How many years ago now? We're talking about 16, 15 years ago. But yeah, if they keep a clean sheet against Tottenham, that would actually match the record, and then it's Man United away to break it. But I don't know. I mean, I hope to be proven wrong, but I just see that as really difficult. You know, you've got two of your fiercest rivals as your next two away games. But if you can do it at the Etihad, you can do it anywhere, to be fair. And yeah, the simple answer is it is one of the greatest defensive runs. And the underlying numbers all season have been very good. And it was only a matter of time until they kept clean sheets, really. I think it's taken actually a bit of time for my live chat to kind of load for some reason. Shavain says 62 minus 458, 12 games left. Yeah, I think 100 plus points is very easily attainable. This would actually be the first time I get to it if if my players get the job done for the second games. But yeah, good stuff. Really good score. And a green arrow is pretty much secured. Border's the only Spurs defender I would go for. Last season he scored more towards the end of the season. Yeah, of course he's doubtful at the moment, but he should play against Arsenal. And of course, he's a great option, I think, for Game Week 37 and 38. I think that's the best time to triple up on Spurs. Gordon or Johnson? Gordon for me all day long. Captain Eze over Salah, good stuff. And once again, those kind of captain's decisions are pivotal. And I kept on mentioning Eze as a captaincy option. I should have backed my own gut. But I honestly thought Salah would be the best option. And he might still deliver against Everton. He got 16 points earlier this season against them, but it's not looking good so far. The Salah captainers, it's looking like a massive flop, in fact, and a missed opportunity. So it is what it is. Thank you to those that have liked the stream and those that have sent in super chats. Also, those that have signed up as a channel member or patron. All of you are massively appreciated. The subscribers, as we hit 23,000 last Tuesday, and we're looking to get to new goals like 25,000 and then moving on to even bigger things. But yeah, be sure to put in your last few questions and comments. I'll be wrapping up fairly soon. I have been streaming for over an hour now. So yeah, we'll get the last few things covered. And keep your eyes peeled for more FPL content and, of course, UCL Fantasy as well. So transfer tips, best wildcard team, team selection where I've activated the wildcard, potentially a best free hit team video if you want to see that for an idea of the best Game Week 35 options to buy. And maybe the odd one watching also has the free hit in the back pocket to use in Game Week 35, which could be a nice differential, actually. Shavain says, a guy in my league has scored 79 with 12 left. Oh, well, you could still end up outscoring him, but of course it will be a tough ask. Yeah, there's some big scores this week. Everyone in the live chat I've seen has done really well. I've only seen maybe one or two people saying that they've done pretty poorly. So it's good to see so many doing well. Gonna head off now and watch the Madrid-Barca game. Enjoy the rest of the stream and see you in the next one. Thank you, Alex. I'll see you very soon. Thank you for all the contributions to the channel. Tony was back playing 90 minutes and being the captain. I transferred him in and he just disappeared. Yeah, it's kind of a strange one. A very strange one, in fact. I bought him in Game Week 26 when he had West Ham away. Great record against the Hammers. He blanked and he was an awful transfer for me. He was also a way of covering Game Week 29 without the free hit. But in the end, I was just sick of Tony. I sold him. I just committed to free hitting in 29. The rest is history. But yeah, Tony's been awful this season. He had a decent comeback. He scored against Tottenham. He obviously got that big return against Forest. But ever since that, he scored against Liverpool and that's about it. It's just blank after blank. And now he's not even making the squad. Robertson let me down, man. Still a second game, but yeah, Virgil van Dijk as well. Liverpool haven't kept a clean sheet in 12 games in a row across all competitions. So yeah, I mean, the underlying numbers defensively aren't good. They concede too many chances, and there's a reason why they've fallen behind in the Premier League so often. 58 with 11 left to play. Good stuff. Yeah, 100 plus points. Another one. Very attainable. You just have to hope that the players deliver in the second game. But it should be a green arrow nonetheless. Thank you, Aman. Great stream, Dylan. Thanks. And do you have the bench boost for 37? Yeah. The plan is to wildcard 35. Well, in fact, I've activated already, so that's already locked in. And bench boost 37. I've currently got 13 or 14 doublers, I think, actually, for 37 with Gabriel. But that could actually change. I could actually go for Cher instead of Gabriel and maybe go for another goalkeeper like Vicario and have 15 doublers for Game Week 37. Liverpool somehow always have an easy first 4 games and they always play Wolves home last game. Yeah, that's a good thing. One of the things I noticed is, I think from earlier this season, is the fact that they play Wolves at home last game of the season. And yeah, the last time they did that, I think they missed out on the league by, what, a point or something? It was that time when Gundogan, I think, scored a brace as a substitute. Liverpool went 1-0 down. I think Neto scored. They made a comeback, but yeah, it wasn't enough to win the title. Let's wait and see. Liverpool still have a chance, but that Palace defeat, I think, is very costly for them. What changes do you think Klopp will make for the second game? That's a great question. As good as Gakpo played, I could see him dropping to the bench. Maybe Diaz shifts to the left, and you've got Salah on the right. It actually wouldn't surprise me if Darwin Nunez got a start as well. But yeah, the front three, obviously, they played very well today. It's a nice balance, something they can actually build upon going forwards. But yeah, I think Salah comes back in. With Diaz, it's a tricky one. He might not even start the second game, but I think he could shift to the left. I also expect McAllister, well, McAllister's almost certainly going to come into the midfield. I think Gravenberch drops out despite scoring today. I think the back four, pretty much the only change there would be Konate in for Kwanzaa. All I come to say is commentary got robbed, says El Nadador. Well, in terms of refereeing decisions, not necessarily. I mean, the goal was offside, and, you know, in terms of penalties, you've got to tuck them away, and United did it. Coventry didn't, and that third penalty was crucial. If he scores that, they probably go on to win it. I'm on 61 -8, not happy with taking hits to bring in Alisson and Van Dijk, says Hugo Smith. Yeah, Alisson's still one of the best goalkeepers on paper for the Double Gameweek 34, and Simo Van Dijk, but yeah, that's 12 games in a row without a clean sheet, so it's not too surprising for me. Palace versus Newcastle are going to be interesting. I got Mateta, Eze and Isak. Yeah, if it's goals galore, you'll be feasting. I think one of those is almost certainly going to return for you. It's just a matter of who. All three at the same time? I don't think so, but stranger things have happened. Spurs should take notes from Liverpool. Maybe next time they can beat Fulham at Craven Cottage. Spurs? Not sure what you mean about Spurs. Oh, okay, got battered 3-0 in Game Week 29. Fair enough. Well, then again, Liverpool are a better team than Tottenham, and Fulham were also better on the day compared to how they were against Liverpool. Yeah, that was a bad time, says Shivane. Gundogan brace. 1 point, Gundogan winner, heartbreak for me. Yeah, there's also the other time where Liverpool got 97 points, unless I'm thinking about the same year. I think it was a different year. Yeah, and of course, City pipped them to the title by 1 point. To get 97 points on one defeat and to lose the title is, I mean, I don't even know what to think about that. Last season was bad enough for Arsenal. I can't imagine 97 points. Salah to start the next game? I think so. Alisson, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, Salah, Diaz, Jota, in my opinion. You could be right. I agree that McAllister and Salah come back in. I think Diaz starts the second game. I think Jota will be on the bench, actually, if you're asking me, but I could be wrong. I think he comes off the bench and makes an impact. Jota's 100% or 100 times better player than Darwin. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Maybe not 100 times, but he is the better player. Have you seen the close-up? No, maybe I'm wrong, but when I saw it, I thought it was offside. It is obviously heartbreak because that was the winning goal, literally in the dying moments of the game, 120th minute. It doesn't get more dramatic than that. I have 71 points on FPL Challenge, so do I, and I forgot to change the captaincy to Eze. Otherwise, I'd be feasting even more. Yeah, that was when Brighton were winning 1-0 and City came back 4-1, another heartbreak. It was at the Amex Stadium, wasn't it? Yeah, I was kind of a bit detached from some of these title races. I know Liverpool kept things interesting in the last couple of years, but with City dominating the league so much, it has been a bit boring, and you need these Liverpools and Arsenals to challenge them. Otherwise, you've literally just got a Bundesliga, in fact, even worse. And even the Bundesliga has a new winner this time around. But only 37 on FPL regular. Well, hopefully you can get that score up after the last few games have gone. 36 still. The point stands. Yeah, we all have these good and bad weeks, and it's just about bouncing back and just enjoying the game throughout the whole time. I've had some stinkers. Look at Game Week 29. Plenty of examples this season. Game Week 4 to 9, for me, probably the worst stretch I've ever had in FPL. And the reason why I'm currently at my worst ever rank. But a green arrow so far, 40,000 places. I hope you can get a green arrow in the end. And yeah, we'll see how it all pans out. Keep your eyes peeled, like I said, for the best wildcard team. That's going to be out probably on the Tuesday. Transfer tips tomorrow is going to be the aim. And of course, the team selection, where I've activated the wildcard with the eyes to bench boost in Game Week 37. If you want to see a best free hit team video, be sure to let me know in the live chat and also in the comment section down below. And thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, then smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Let's get this stream to over 100 likes and let's keep on pushing towards 24,000 subscribers and beyond. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and check all the other links in the description below for the Patreon, Championships Discord server, the FPL League, FPL Challenge, also Draft Town, a great resource which I showed you earlier, and I'll be showing you it more in the coming days. And there's also Spotify and Amazon Music. Leave a 5-star review on those platforms. I'll go through the last few questions and comments and see what you lot are saying. Yeah, for the time being, I'm going to go back now here to this team. And we'll go through your last few questions and ensure that every single comment here in today's chat is highlighted and answered. Ruler2 says, I think Darwin will hit a 20-plus pointer once. I mean, you'd love to think that, right? But if you're asking me, I think he won't. I think he won't. Maybe in a double game week, I can see what you're saying, but in a single game, not for me. I don't think so. I understand why you're saying that because of how good his underlying numbers are. You know, his positioning is great as well. On his day, he's brilliant, but I don't see it. Which promotion player punts did you do for the challenge? I went for Brereton Diaz, and in typical fashion, it was Gustavo Hammer who ended up scoring and getting bonus points. Hugo Smith says, any thoughts on keeping an Arsenal defender and keeping Salah or not? I've currently got an Arsenal defender on my wildcard, and I'll talk about this. I think Ben White, Gabriel Saliba, take your pick from those three. They're all great options. You could even double up on the Gunners defensively, but I'm looking at the remaining games, Man United and Tottenham away, Bournemouth and Everton at home, and even with Chelsea at home included, I think 2 clean sheets max. If they keep more than that, then they would have done a bloody good job because those are some difficult fixtures. As for keeping Salah or not, I think if you're bench boosting in 37, I'd sell him. He's just a really easy cash cow. He's not even a guaranteed start every single week. I think he will start the rest of the games, but I can't guarantee you that. And as good as he is against West Ham away, yeah, I think if you're bench boosting in 37, he's a sell. I'll talk about this in the transfer tips video in more detail. What do you see Tony playing next season? Probably like a Chelsea or Tottenham. I don't think he'll go to an Arsenal. Yeah, I don't know. I disagree on that, though. I see him going to Arsenal and Jesus leaving the club. I'll be honest, I think Jesus is a better player. Maybe not a better goal scorer. He definitely isn't. But Jesus has that X factor, that dribbling that Tony doesn't have, for example. And look, Tony had a great season last year. He was pivotal in promoting Brentford in the first place, but I think his attitude is a big problem. I don't see Arsenal going for him. I think Gyökeres is much more likely. And I remember people saying early in the season that they were telling me to watch out for him. A big talent for Sporting. But yeah, I just don't see Tony going to Arsenal. Sean says, on free at 34, currently on 69 points, up to 4k now overall. Wildcard 33 at 34 has been a blessing this year. Good going last few weeks, still in rank climbing every week. Yeah, you're doing very well, Sean, and it's good to see variety in chip strategies. I free it in 29, disaster. But I had a good team for Gameweek 30 to 34, and now I'm going to wildcard and see what that could do for the rest of the season. So, yeah, I have to say that's a great rank, and I'm just wondering what chips you have left. Maybe the bench boost, but even if you don't, you're well poised for a great finish. I went Luis Diaz over Elise, so did I. A bit regretful of that, but my biggest regret is benching 8 Nuri for Zabani and also captaining Salah. Predict the score in the Arsenal-Chelsea game. I'm going to stick with 2-1 Arsenal. I say stick 2-1 Arsenal. I think I went for 2-1 Arsenal against Wolves and 1-1 against Chelsea. I'm going to go for 2-1 Arsenal. They should get the job done. They need to get it done. Otherwise, it's just going to come down to Liverpool City for the title. Kind of like Sancho's story in the Prem, says El Nadador. Oh, right. Well, maybe. I think there's a bit more to it, to the Sancho situation. With Ivan Toney, I don't know. The fact that he kind of disrespects Brentford constantly. In the interviews, he pretty much always talks about moving. I don't know. That kind of thing I see as disrespectful. With Sancho, I'm not really justifying what he did, but he kind of, Ten Hag called him out in a press conference, and obviously we don't know what happened in training, but yeah, there's two sides to a story as well. I know, but Jesus has injury problems, might end up somewhere like Barca or Atletico Madrid where he picks up form again. He was electrifying last season, and he was also a level raiser for Arsenal. Same with Zinchenko. They've dropped this season, but even in recent weeks, you see Jesus winning the penalty against Brighton, creating the goal for Trossard against Bayern Munich, also for Trossard against Wolves. I still think he has a use. He's just not clinical. He's never going to be clinical, but as a winger, he can do a job. He's injury prone. I think he's lost a lot of pace, but he's one of the best dribblers in the league, in my opinion, and I'd want him as a squad player for Arsenal, but is he good enough to start games? Probably not. Arsenal need more big game mentality players, and that comes from buying superstars in a way. Who do you buy? Obviously, that's where it comes down to. But yeah, I think they just need that X factor player, someone who can really get them over the line. And look, they can still get the job done this season, but it's going to be very tricky. Jack Fairley says 52 points with 10 doublers and Haaland, and finally got to the peak of my mini league for the first time this season. Good stuff. 1 point ahead as it stands. Hashtag we do not let this slip. You're probably not a Liverpool fan, are you, if you said that? But yeah, good stuff. And it's always kind of satisfying, you know, when you're trailing a mini league all season and you take the lead in the league. When is the best time to hit the wild card? As early as tonight or wait? Based on the price changes that we're seeing, probably best to wait. I played it yesterday and I've actually lost a bit of value from it, so probably not the right call in the end. But I'm kind of set on the foundations on my wildcard team, so I'm not too bothered. Barcelona scored Christensen, another goal by him. I say a draw, says El Nadador. 2-2 or 1-1? I hope not. Moyes will leave at the end of the season, says James. Yeah, I think with some of the batterings West Ham have received this season, yeah. And also, look, he's won them a trophy last season. He's still one of their best managers in recent years. Do you think Ten Hag will survive or get sacked by the end of the season? I still think he'll survive, to be quite honest with you. I mean, you saw it today, right? They narrowly escaped one of the biggest humiliations and comebacks in history. That would have been a catastrophe. I think they probably would have sacked him if they lost today. Yeah, I think he stays. I think he stays until next season. They might start next season poorly, and that's what results in him being sacked. But I'll be honest, I think he survives. Sean says, bench boost phase 7, Dylan. A dog is a bit of a disaster, but a -4 isn't the end of the world. It certainly isn't, and a doggy was facing Arsenal and Chelsea anyway. Do you expect a clean sheet? Probably not, but stranger things have happened. Sean says, Dylan, look at Maguire, McTominay for United. Sancho has no excuses, mate. No players bigger than the team. No, like I said, there's two sides to a story. Sancho and Ten Hag, I think, were in the wrong. You could probably argue that Sancho is more in the wrong, but the way I look at it is Ten Hag has a history of falling out with players, especially the kind of highest earners, the big players on paper. Sancho, Cristiano Ronaldo, Varane. There's a lot of examples throughout his tenure at Man United. But yeah, Sancho, maybe his attitude isn't good enough as well. Maybe. Evening, Dylan. How are you doing? Pretty good. Decent FPL-wise, although a few mistakes were made. Commentary, history spoiled by the bloody refs. I need to double check the offside. People are saying that it was onside. Pummel, punish Gabriel if you're still 100% focused in the game. I mean, look, Gabriel's been phenomenal this season. If you're making a team of the year, Gabriel's a great chance of being in it. I I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Palmer could score, but Arsenal could still win. We'll wait and see what happens. Who do you think West Ham should replace Moyes with? Thiago Motta has been doing bits at Bologna. That's a good shout. I'm not sure where they are now in the league, but last time I checked, they were 4th. And to do that with Bologna is very impressive. Graham Potter, I've said this a lot of times. I think Potter's rep has been criminally damaged based on his time at Chelsea. People forget the foundations he laid at Brighton. You know, when he left them, Brighton were in a Champions League place. It was early in the season, but I think the Zerbi also benefited from the squad that Graham Potter built. You're starting to see the wheels fall off a little bit at Brighton. And look, the Zerbi's still a really good coach tactically, but I think Potter has a lot to do with it in terms of the Brighton players and the foundations they've got. Didn't take a -12 to bring in Mateta for Haaland. Should I start crying or be content? Just be content. Enjoy the game. Yeah, -12. I mean, yeah, a -12 seems way too excessive, but I took a -8 after all, and I'm not really one to take hits recently. But yeah, Mateta was phenomenal today. I didn't expect that. I thought he wouldn't even get 16 points across both games, and he's already done it. So a bit of bad luck there. Is Havertz going to play in the midfield versus Chelsea or up front? I think up front. And I think he has played better up front. You look at his goals and assists for Arsenal, playing in that position, and he's actually got more goals and assists than games played. Very rarely blanked, especially in the Premier League. But yeah, I think with Havertz, his best quality is his positioning. He opens up spaces for others, which might seem a bit like you're grasping or clutching at straws, but that's genuinely a quality he has. He's also good in terms of winning duels, and he gives Arsenal a different dimension, but he's a poor finisher. And same with Gabriel Jesus. They're two players that are probably good for Arsenal in terms of being squad players, but not for the starting 11 week in, week out. But yeah, Havertz is playing every single game, and I think he's been good in this calendar year. I really do. Since November, he's had a few poor games here and there, but very few and far between. I think Ten Hag would be a good manager at Brighton instead of United. I don't think he'd ever go Brighton, though. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit harsh, maybe his ego wouldn't allow it. And I don't know, I think he'd just go abroad after Man United. Hey Dylan, just wanted to say thanks for pushing me to commit to a -8. Eze and Mateta did me wonders. That's great to hear, Vedan. I'm just wondering who you sold to get those players. I did something similar. I bought both of them and Luis Diaz for a -8. The Palace boys have been fantastic. Diaz has been a bit disappointing, and all Liverpool assets have been a big letdown. But yeah, ultimately you made the transfers, and I'm glad that it went well. I don't know why, but I kind of see a manager passing the parcel for the West Ham job. Championship manager to West Ham, League One manager to that Championship club. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. I mean, with West Ham, yeah, I don't see them getting Graham Potter, as Isaac asked earlier. I mean, look, Potter's more realistic than Thiago Motta, and I say realistic, I just don't see Motta leaving Bologna or Italy. I think it's actually more likely he goes to Juventus or something like that, in my opinion. Vedant says, for my wildcard, should I buy Edison? Not sure about Pep's rotation with defenders. I agree. I can see why you raised that point. That's definitely valid. Gavardio's currently in my wildcard draft, but with Ake back, I think Gavardio is a rotation risk, so that's something to reconsider. Not a big fan of Edison's price, but you could see City keeping 2 or 3 clean sheets, and Edison has been a decent FPL asset this season. Not great, maybe not worth the money fully, but I mean, if that means you can go for Fabian Schär and maybe Dallo in the defence and not double up on Man United defensively, that could be great. So, yeah, I think Edison's actually not a bad shout. I'll probably warm more up to it over the coming days. You'll find out if he's in my final wildcard team. I've currently got Onana and Dubravka, but you're looking at Dubravka and will he play both games in 37 if Pope is back? Well, he wouldn't. It all depends on that return. So Edison right now, yeah, probably the best way to cover Man City's defence, but still not a great option on paper in terms of the price. Trini says, greetings Dylan, and everyone just taking a pass through, not staying so far. Free hit going great for me. Good to hear. Vedant says, will Diaz get less minutes against Everton? I think so. I think he starts, but I think he'll play 70, 80 minutes, and it all depends on game state. If Liverpool are chasing, is Diaz having a bad game or not? But he's been very good for Liverpool in this calendar year. Mott will end up somewhere like Napoli. Yeah, that's another good shout, actually. Napoli or Juventus, I think, is quite likely. Neil Peterson says, best free City players for bench boost 37. Foden is a must-have. You know, that's kind of a no-brainer. I'd still put Haaland's name in the hat, and I'd also say either Gavardio or Edison. Now, Gavardio could be a rotation risk. He might not start both games by then, so that could be a tricky one. Maybe Ruben Diaz could be the one to go for. But yeah, if you just want to kind of go safe, I think it's probably Edison, Foden, and Haaland. I've been having Akanji for a while. Hasn't been dropped since the Manchester derby, but he does have a yellow flag. Yeah, but he did play against Chelsea yesterday. I wouldn't be too against that, to be honest. Akanji, I remember at one point he was like the most nailed on Man City defender. Then he got injured, I believe, and that's why it took him a while to get back into the City team. But yeah, Akanji could be a great shout, actually. I'm 8 points behind my friend at the top of my friend's league. Any tips? He doesn't have a wild card anymore. Yeah, if that's the case, I'm assuming he'll have players like Salah, Saka. So I think you probably commit to the strategy of going for Man United, Newcastle players, all of these players that double in 37 with good fixtures in 35 and 36. So yeah, I think with your wild card and potentially bench boost for 37 Vedan, that's what you probably do. You pile up on Chelsea, Tottenham, and Man United and Newcastle, and you go in a different direction to your friend and hope to claw back that 8-point deficit, which is massive, but it is doable. It's just going to take a lot, and you've got to be different to him. So going for those 4 teams, I think, will be massive. Mourinho to Liverpool, I don't think that'll happen. He was at the game today, but not for me. I think he lives in the Chelsea area, doesn't he? So that's why he went to the Fulham Stadium. I don't really see anything in it. Best time to buy back Foden. I'd say Gameweek 35, to be honest. But if you can't get him in 35, probably 36. But definitely have him in time for 37. What wildcard striker would you recommend apart from Jackson, Isak, and Haaland? Højlund, but I haven't been impressed by him. It's just the fixtures and the doubles, mainly the doubles really, because some of the fixtures are tough, like Arsenal at home. But yeah, I think Watkins is another great shout there. Joao Pedro could be decent, because apart from that, who you're really looking at? It gets a bit tricky if you're looking at Gameweek 37 doublers specifically. Maybe that's where you include Werner, who doubles in 35 and 37, but I'd probably stick with, yeah, I think Watkins amongst single Gameweek options, and I think my favourite would probably be Højlund. So next season we will have UCL and Club World Cup, rip teams that play both. Yeah, the Club World Cup has the extended format, doesn't it? More Champions League games. It's just more football, and it's going to come to a stage where if you want to win the title, you've got to have a really stacked squad, at least 15 quality players like C have. Yeah, it's not good really, is it? Watkins is still quite expensive, yeah. I'd probably still say Højlund for me, but Watkins is a great shout by him. I mean, he's been the best forward in the game this season. And Watkins has the most points this season, yeah. He's gone clear of Palmer. They were actually both joint top. Let's see how Palmer does against Arsenal, but yeah, Watkins has a great chance of ending up being the highest scorer in FPL, but I think it'll be Palmer in the end. He'll have the most points with the doubles yet in his favour. Yeah, I think Watkins is just a great option. Here's why Haaland didn't start against Chelsea. If he doesn't start against Brighton and still flagged, I'll sell him. Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. He's currently in my wildcard team, but on my bench, as I'll talk about in the best wildcard team, but things might change by the time I record that video and podcast. Brennan Johnson or Maddison? Like I mentioned earlier, Johnson's in better form. I think Maddison's the more reliable player in general. I'm still going to go for Maddison, but yeah, I think both are actually quite good. Real Madrid penalty, Vinicius Jr. 1-1. Was it a penalty? Just wondering. I've heard a lot about Madrid getting favoritism in La Liga, but yeah, he's kind of inevitable against Barcelona. How much do you think Watkins is worth in FPL? Oh, next season he'll easily be 10.5, 11 million in real life in terms of transfer market value. I'd probably say 70, 80 million. I mean, he is in the very prime of his career. He's not that young in football terms, so yeah, I think I'd say 70, 80 million. English as well. He's going to be in the Champions League. It'll probably take at least 100 million to prize him out of Villa, but I'd say 70, 80 million easily. Any single Gameweek players you would put in the wildcard? Yeah, one of Gabriel, Saliba, or Ben White, maybe even two of them. Salah, Saka in the midfield would be worth mentioning. Watkins up front. I think those are the players you're really looking at with no doubles for the rest of the season. As for Gameweek 35, of course, you'll have plenty of single Gameweek players there. I'm probably only going for 5 from Chelsea and Tottenham, but you can go for 6 if you wish. I just don't think it's absolutely necessary, with both doubles being quite tough on paper. Look at Spurs' next games, I wouldn't take any, but pick one out of them. I'd take Johnson. Yeah, I currently don't have Maddison, Johnson, or any Spurs second attacker. I think Heung-min Son is still fixture-proof, great option, and he's also there in place for Gameweek 37. But yeah, apart from Son, I don't think you need any other Spurs asset. I agree with El Nadador. I've currently got Porro and gone for the double up, but I don't think you need 3. What Chelsea asset would you consider apart from Palmer and Gusto? Probably Jackson, but he's a terrible finisher. He's going to be frustrating, a bit like Darwin Nunez on steroids, but yeah, I think Jackson. Who do you choose to take pen in a crucial moment? Lionel Messi. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of great penalty takers out there. I'll probably forget a lot of them. I think Lewandowski is a great penalty taker, an almost flawless record. I think there's an Argentine with a great record as well at Roma. I think it was Perotti. That's another one. There's a lot, to be fair. Do you think Arsenal will keep any more clean sheets? Yes, but as I mentioned earlier, including the Chelsea game, I think they keep 2 clean sheets max. If they keep more than that, they would have done great because they're tough fixtures. I personally think 1 or 2 clean sheets, and you're looking at Everton or Bournemouth as being the most likely, especially Everton at home. I think that's where Arsenal keep a clean sheet. And yeah, maybe 1 more, but I don't see anything more than that. Gallagher on good form right now. I wouldn't go from an FPL though. I really wouldn't. You're right though. I think Gallagher might be decent though. And you never know. Look at McAllister. A couple of weeks ago, you never really thought of him as an FPL asset. You just score. He scores a screamer against Sheffield United, and he's been in great form, goal scoring wise. But yeah, for me, apart from Gusto and Palmer, it's quite difficult to get that third Chelsea option. Maybe Petrovic in goal, or you're looking at Jackson up front. As a Chelsea fan, watching Jackson is pure pain. I think a lot of Premier League teams have that sort of player, don't they? Arsenal have Jesus and Havertz. Tottenham have Werner and Richarlison. Liverpool, Darwin Nunez. Man City, Erling Haaland, dare I say, with the amount of chances he's missed. I'd actually say Alvarez has been quite poor in front of goal. Garnacho, Gordon, definitely Gordon for me. Garnacho's decent, but if I'm looking to cover the United attack, it's going to be Bruno Fernandes, to be quite honest with you. Thank you to those that have tuned in today. We have streamed for over an hour and a half. It has been a great pleasure. As I said earlier, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's get this stream to over 100 likes, especially if I answered your question or if you found this video useful, helpful, entertaining. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, as I mentioned earlier. Check out all the other links as well. Draft Town, Discord server, FPL League, FPL Challenge, also Spotify and Amazon Music. Click those links and leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. I wish you all the best of luck for the rest of Double Gameweek 34 and of course all the other doubles to come, including Gameweek 35. Keep your eyes peeled for the best wildcard team video and podcast, the transfer tips, the team selection, and potentially a best free hit team video if you want to see that. And of course, it goes without saying the deadline stream will also be on your way. Use your fantasy content will be returning very soon. There's a very packed schedule to end the season and it should be a lot of fun. I'll see you very soon for the future videos and streams. So I wish you all the very best of luck, as always.